completely restarted my binge eating. Was one of the worst things that I could possibly have ever done. An absolute horrible person to live with. I felt like I had to make a statement in the coaching world. I can't believe I actually looked like that, and I actually looked sick. I thought that I had a discipline problem, but it turns out I actually had a perfectionism problem. Let's roll it back to about 10 years ago, whenever I first started university. I got stuck into a massive trap of binge eating, comfort eating, and just feeling so unconfident in myself. I was going out all the time. I was partying loads. I wasn't eating the best foods to fuel my body, and I just felt really not myself at all. I remember getting so uncomfortable at one point that I actually hired a PT. Bearing in mind that my degree was in sport and exercise science, so I kind of should have known what I was doing, but I hired this PT anyway, expecting her to give me this lease of life that I was all of a sudden just going to be motivated, disciplined, and just feeling a lot better about myself. Granted, she did really help me. However, I hated every single second of the gym. I hated every single exercise and genuinely just didn't enjoy it at all. I was going to the gym expecting to be able to like out train a bad diet, which of course I very quickly came to the conclusion that that is not possible. So yeah, I think going back to those years, I was just really unconfident in myself. I just really didn't really know what I was doing. And I hated fitness as a whole. And then fast forward until I moved home from uni, which is around 2019. My mum and my aunt were both coaches. So I moved home. My mum was like cooking like healthier meals, and she knew I just wasn't feeling myself. Obviously, started eating a little bit healthier through no choice of my own because she was obviously cooking the meals. I then also was just working. So I was like eating at certain times. Mum would have prepped like my lunches for me. I would have had like healthier breakfast, etc. And just got into a bit of a better routine with food. That was definitely a turning point for me because I definitely found that I was starting to feel a little bit better. I was starting to feel a little bit more energetic. And then that kind of fast forward to me being like, okay, well, if I've lost a little bit of weight now and I'm feeling a little bit better, if we put some training into the mix, how could I actually feel? So I remember saying to my mum at the time, like, let me come to the gym with you. Like, let me see how things go. So we went to the gym and I generally just got into it like 3 times a week. It was nothing major. I definitely found that whenever I was back in Liverpool, whenever I was going to the gym, I was trying to, in my head, if I wasn't like doing 10K steps a day, 5 training days a week, trying to eat like so restrictive to the point where I was then binging because I was so restrictive during the week. That's whenever I found I just spiraled. So the main thing whenever I moved back from uni was I didn't want to fall into that trap of the all or nothing approach, which I think is so common to so many women nowadays, is that people think that if they are not doing the most, they're not going to get any results at all. And that's why people get so impatient whenever they aren't doing the most, but then they think that they should be getting the quickest results ever, whenever really if you're just like doing small changes that turn into habits, over time you're going to equal long-term results, but people don't actually realize that. So fast forward back into the gym whenever I was with my mum, really enjoyed it, was training with her for about 3 months at the time, and had actually like got into like the best shape that I'd ever been in, to be honest, at that point. Had a really better relationship with food and generally just started to enjoy my lifestyle a little bit more. From there, that's like, okay, like what do I want to actually do in my life here? Do I want to like take the route of going back to university and become a teacher, or do I actually want to do something completely different? And I remember my mum saying to me, like, you're enjoying the gym, you're enjoying fueling your body right now. Why don't you like maybe go and get your coaching qualifications and become a coach? And I was like, no, like you're a coach. Like my aunt was a coach. I was like, definitely not. But the more I thought about it, I was like, I had sort of been there, wore every hat, wore every t-shirt, and I found that I was really relatable to a lot of women. So like I've been through the binge eating, I've been through feeling unconfident, I've been through the all or nothing approach, I've been through all the different fad diets like Herbalife and keto and all those things that don't work, but people think they do because they want a quick fix. And because I'd been through it all, I then found balance and I was like, right, okay, well, if I've done this, well, then I should be able to share it with loads of women my own age and even above my age or below, that it's possible you can start to feel that little bit more confidence again. So that's kind of where I started the brand, and I went and did my qualifications from there, which I had taken obviously a little while to get. So fast forward like 6 months to a year, and I had launched my one-to-one coaching. So that is sort of where I had started just one-to-one in the gym, which I actually really enjoyed. And I actually had got into like quite a really good way of like, I didn't need to track my food anymore. I would just feel my body for my sessions. I was just really, really enjoying spending time with clients, etc., and helping get them results. From there, lockdown hit, and I had no choice but to go full time with coaching because I was only part time at the beginning. And from there, that's whenever everything totally changed for me. I think I felt like I had great amounts of pressure because I was like, oh my goodness, like I'm now a full-time coach. I feel like I need to do something extravagant to prove that I'm worthy of being a coach. And I think this is again a big thing for a lot of women is they need to try and prove themselves to feel worthy in a way. So for me, the big thing was I felt like I had to make a statement in the coaching world. So I jumped into bodybuilding, which was from someone that's had a binge eating disorder in the past, was one of the worst things that I could possibly have ever done for my mental health and my physical. So I jumped into a 6 month bodybuilding prep. I had got to the point of pretty much starvation. I was an absolute horrible person to live with. I was so hungry all the time. My sleep wasn't right. I had no energy. I was breaking out in spots. Like I genuinely just felt horrific. But I was putting my body through it because I felt like I needed to make a point that I was this coach and that I was worthy and I'd been there to the extreme of that leanness that is so extreme that it's not maintainable. And I remember whenever I went and did the bodybuilding shows, yes, it's a great experience. Yes, it's great to say that I've had the discipline to get me where it needs to be. But that's where it flipped again, where it completely restarted my binge eating. So I will always remember the one night I'd finished the bodybuilding shows. I got back to the hotel. I had 6 or 7 like those like sort of like cookie bakes that you could get like in the bakery with like Biscoff and like Nutella and like everything you can imagine. I remember trying to eat them all at once, but because my stomach had shrunk so much, I was violently sick after it. Like I had to get the bin in the hotel room. I was violently sick. I felt disgusting, but I just kept wanting to eat it because my body was so starved of that for so long. I was like it was then craving it so much because I gave it like a hint of sugar. So it was like craving it massively. And that's whenever things just went downhill from there again. I found it really, really hard to pull myself back from that. I went into a really dark hole of wanting to eat everything in sight, found it really hard to feel my body because all I wanted to do was eat chocolate and sugar and everything around me. And yes, whilst I was still training, I had lost the love for it because I was training so hard and I was training like not against my will, because obviously I was doing it willingly, but like I had to do the cardio. I had to do the 60 minutes or 7 minutes of cardio a day. I had to do the 5 to 6 training sessions a week. I had to do the 15,000 steps. Like I had to eat like a rabbit for pretty much 6 months. And I did definitely find that then it gave me a bit of a resentment towards fitness. And that's why I resonate with a lot of people that come to me that have done like keto diets or they've done like Herbalife diets, that they have such a bad stigma about the gym or about any type of diet that they feel like they have to do such extremes to get results, when really you genuinely just need to do small consistent habits that will change over time, that will get you long lasting results. But that is whenever I found it really hard to pull myself out of that hole. So it definitely took me, I would go as far to say, 2 years to fully pull myself out of that. And that's kind of where I started to then build my online business a little bit more. So I started to talk about it a little bit more online. I started to build a little bit more of a following. And obviously, like I said, that's whenever I became a little bit more relatable again to those that are struggling in the same departments with regards to binging, and even ladies that had came to me that had came from the other end of the spectrum where they were not feeling their body enough. And again, I can really empathize with that because it's something that is really, really hard once you get in your head. Body dysmorphia is a real thing. And I remember looking back whenever I was bodybuilding and thinking that I looked like completely different to how I looked. I didn't think that I looked tiny. I didn't think that I looked like I was in any shape to be on stage. But looking back now, I'm like, I can't believe I actually looked like that. And I actually looked sick. I didn't sit it at all. So yeah, that was definitely quite hard. I think from growing my online business then as well, that's allowed me to have a bit more of a platform to like to create awareness around like binging and self-image and comparison and just loving yourself in general, which is why I did originally like rebrand myself as the confidence coach, is because my role and what I like to see my main role is helping women, no matter what shape or size they are, find a little bit more confidence in what they've had previously. And if I've done that for a client, then I have won, because I definitely think a lot of people think you have to have abs, you have to be the leanest version and the smallest version of yourself, but you don't have to be the smallest version of yourself. I've been there and I've been the most unhappy version of myself. That your dream body is a body that you can maintain, which I don't think a lot of people actually realize. So whenever I pulled myself out of that sort of hole, that's whenever I realized that the smallest version of me is definitely not the happiest. And that's what I want so many other ladies to actually realize as well. Sort of down the line, I think where things mostly switched for me as well is back in January, I switched up my training completely. I think a lot of whenever you get into the bodybuilding world, you're kind of taught like, lift weights, go on the Stairmaster for cardio. Like that's kind of like, it's kind of not robotic, but that's the kind of only two really ways to like lose weight or build muscle. And whilst strength training is amazing, and I still weight lift like in majority of my sessions, having that sort of hybrid style training in there is really good as well. Like you can, as long as you're moving your body in a way that you enjoy, that's whenever you're winning, and that's whenever you're on to like a winning routine. Because if you're not enjoying something in the gym and you're forcing yourself to go and do it, that's whenever you're most likely to not stick to it. So I found whenever I got into more hybrid style training in January, where I was doing a little bit more running, I was doing a little bit more high intensity training, but also with a mix of weightlifting, and then walking and yoga outside of that. Like I'm always moving my body in different styles in different ways, just dependent on how I feel on that day. If I'm feeling a little bit more tired, I'll maybe do a little bit of yoga and a long walk. If I'm feeling more energetic, I'll maybe go out for a run. I'll maybe try and test my 5K PB. I'll maybe go and do one of my high rock style sessions. And having things to work towards outside of like body image and focusing more on performance, I think has really helped me as well. So I'm training for high rocks races at the moment, but it used to be that I was always training for bodybuilding shows, photo shoots. And yes, whilst I do have a photo shoot coming up, this is the first time that I haven't really dieted massively for it, because I'm kind of happy with where I'm at the moment. And I just wanted to go in and shoot with a photographer because it was a photographer that I wanted to shoot with, not because I felt like I had to prove a point to my followers or my like potential clients that I look like this. So yeah, I definitely think that the whole mindset of it is definitely one of the main things that I have found has been a massive shift for me, because I've gone from hating myself, being so unconfident, having that all or nothing, having such like a really bad binge eating, to coming out of it, to go back into it, to then fully coming out of it and realizing that having that plan in place where I know that I can listen to my body and I know how I want to move, how I want to feel my body. And that is, I think, one of the biggest things whenever people come to me is they don't know how to listen to their body. They don't know what kind of plan is going to sit around their lifestyle. They see everything on TikTok, they see everything on Instagram, and they feel like they have to, like you feel like you have to follow what you see on social media rather than following what you actually want to do. And again, that's where the comparison comes in. So your dream body is a body that you can maintain, and you need to remember that. And I think that's one of my main messages from this video and sort of from my story is there's no perfect size to be. There's no perfect routine. Your routine that you can maintain and the body that you can maintain is perfect for you.